Howdy YouTube. This is going to be a rant video, essentially, about people who are coming out with bad reviews of episode 7. Now, let me say this first and foremost. If you don't like episode 7, you're allowed, obviously, to not like episode 7. That's fine. You don't have to like it. You can even still be a Star Wars fan and still not like the movie. That's like most people are still Star Wars fans and they don't like the prequels. But I've seen some things and some YouTube video. I'm not going to say any names because I don't think they deserve any sort of recognition. Who have said some things that I just completely disagree with. And it's not the aspect that they don't like the movie. It's kind of the reasoning behind why they like it and then some things they add on to it. First and foremost, if you use this movie to try and turn around and defend episode 1, or you try and say episode 1 is now better, go fuck yourself, okay? Because those same people sat there and bitched and complained about episode 1, about how boring it was, about how the characters were stupid, and how it's just lame it was. The story was miserable. This is the complaints that have been around for a decade. But now they're gonna turn around and be like, well, at least it was original. No, fucker. Because you weren't saying that before. If this entire time you'd been saying, well, but at least it was original, then yeah, you could still say it. But you haven't. You've been fucking bitching and moaning that they didn't give you a Star Wars movie, and now they've turned around and given you a fucking Star Wars movie, and you're bitching and complaining. Go get over yourself. Just seriously, shut the fuck up. Okay? Now, I'm gonna try and just kind of go through this. I've got a lot on my mind about it, but I haven't written any of it down because I wanted to this is just raw. This is just me talking. Fuck it. They say it's a copy paste of A New Hope. Here's the problem. That kind of falls apart when they start to describe it. Because one of the things I've heard is, and spoiler alerts, by the way, one of the things I've heard is that a familial attachment with the main villain. Oh, it's a replica of Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. Okay, that didn't happen in episode 4. That wasn't even established until episode 5. And Kylo Ren has already been established as a much more complex villain than Darth Vader really ever was. We learned later on how complex Darth Vader sort of was, but in the end, Darth Vader was still kind of a jackass. Okay? He was still super, and mind you, I'm a huge Darth Vader fan. Okay? I've got fucking Darth Vader right there. Okay? Right the fuck there. Alright, so chill the fuck out. Now, but he really wasn't all that complex in the movies, okay? He was bad. Saw his son getting fucking electrocuting. Turned good. That's it. That's all he really was in the movies. And he kind of, I guess, showed little snippets here and there of remorse in the aspect of, well, I can't leave the dark side now, kind of stuff. But Kylo Ren has already shown much more complexity. So first off, if you're going to make that comparison, one, you do realize that shit didn't happen in A New Hope, okay? That happened in episodes 5 and 6. So if you want to say that it's taking too much from the original saga, that's fine. But I'll disagree with you because here's my thing. This isn't the movie we wanted. This is the movie we needed. This is the movie that will get us back into a Star Wars universe that we can start to actually want to pay attention to. Who the fuck wanted to watch politics for 2.5 goddamn hours with episodes 1, 2, and 3? Episode 3, personally, I thought it was a good. But 1 and 2, I can't rewatch. And I'm a huge fucking Star Wars fan. Fucking huge Star Wars fan, okay? And I can't rewatch episodes 1 and 2. I try. Episode 3, the only prequel I can actually rewatch and enjoy. Episodes 4, 5, and 6, I can rewatch all the fucking time. And that brings me to my next point. I've heard some people say this, multiple different people say this on different occasions, that episode 7 is a copy and paste of episode 4, which, again, I don't agree with. And then they've turned around and said they just don't have the basis to make a good Star Wars movie. Which is it? Is it a copy and paste of episode 4? Or is it not a good Star Wars movie? Because if you're saying it's both, then you're saying that Star Wars episode 4 was not a good Star Wars movie. Do you not fucking realize what you're saying when you're sitting there typing, little keyboard warrior? Get the fuck over yourself and actually learn what you're fucking talking about. Okay. But anyways, I'll actually make my way back. I'll make my way back to the similarities. The wide-eyed good guy found on a desert planet, and then eventually taken away. Okay. Episode 4. Obi-Wan Kenobi finds Luke Skywalker and takes him eventually off the planet, obviously after his family's killed. Okay. Episode 1. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi, name we recognize again, finds, though, actually, you know what? Qui-Gon Jinn. Obi-Wan Kenobi stayed on the ship. Qui-Gon Jinn finds Anakin Skywalker on a desert planet and takes him away from his family, essentially leaving her to be a slave? So, those two are very similar. Episode 7. Rey finds BB-8. Okay? BB-8 wasn't searching for her. Rey finds BB-8, coincidentally. And then escapes the planet when her village is under attack. And she escapes it with I guess you could say a turned stormtrooper. No, that didn't happen in episode 4. Nope, didn't happen in episode 5 or 6. Nope, didn't happen in any of those. 1, 2, 3? No. Didn't happen to those either. Stormtroopers weren't even in episode 1 or 2. Or 3. Those were clone troopers. Anyways, okay. So that's a similarity that's not actually a similarity, but nice try on that one. Let's see, what's the other one? Of course, they have the familial attachment, which again is also different because we didn't know they were father and son until episode 5. And then we already found out the familial attachment between Kylo Ren and Han Solo, which has already been fucking destroyed because Han Solo dies. Okay. So then there is let's see. There's a reformed or a turned stormtrooper who was was raised, brainwashed, and essentially militarized into the First Order. Please go read Star Wars Before the Awakening. You learn some good shit in there. Unfortunately, I've only read Finn and Poe's. I haven't read Rey's chapter in that yet. But yeah, so he's been with the First Order his entire freaking life, and he's only ever known the First Order, and he leaves the fucking First Order. I'm trying to think of a character that does that in the original trilogy. No, doesn't happen. Oh, and you can't say Han Solo because we didn't know he was a former stormtrooper until the Expanded Universe came out, and so I don't even know if that part is still canon. I would kind of like it to be because it doesn't affect the movie line at all. So yeah, that didn't happen in the original trilogy. The villain wasn't nearly as complex. In the original trilogy, they didn't come at the Force in a sense of maybe the dark side's more natural, and the light side is the one that's tempting, or trying to convince you to go to the light side, because that's the battle Kylo Ren is facing, and we've never heard of a battle like that before within the Force. It's always been someone being tempted by the dark side, never being tempted by the light side. So yeah, that's different too. Let's see. The rebels fighting the main government. Okay, that's not what happens in episode 7. In episode 7, you have a side organization, almost essentially a terrorist group known as the Resistance, and they are attacking a secondary government not even close to equal to the Republic, a small outer galaxy chapter that has risen from the ashes of the Empire, but is not even close to nearly as strong, can't even get close to the core worlds, and the Republic literally gives no shits about them, that they won't even bother attacking the First Order. So yeah, that's not the same either. I'll give you the blowing up the Death Star, but I will also say that happened in episode 1, just replace Death Star with command ship. Also, main character hero boy blows up the station. Episode 4 and episode 1. Because while yes, Poe is the one that destroyed Starkiller Base, he's not Rey, who is the equivalent to Luke Skywalker of episode 4. Rey finds Luke at the end of the movie, and hopefully Luke is going to train her. Okay, you want to make that equivalent to Yoda? You know what? I'll accept that, but you can't say it's carbon copy paste of episode 4 because that didn't happen in episode 4. It happened in episode 5. I'm running low on my recorded time here, so I'm trying to kind of wrap this up. Essentially, what I'm getting at is this. One, this is the movie we needed, not the movie we wanted. If you want original, go watch fucking something else because they needed to reestablish that they can make a Star Wars movie, and they fucking did that. They made a Star Wars movie. Two, if you didn't like it, you're allowed to not like it. Just don't fucking turn around and try and defend episode 1, okay? Because then when you do that, I know you're just fucking idiotic. Don't turn around and be like, oh, this was original. Because this one was original. Look past your preconceived notions and understand that while, yes, they steal some things and they reuse some things, it is still a very original storyline. And 3, if you want to say it's a carbon copy paste of episode 4, you're dead fucking wrong. Because while making that list, you end up going to episodes 5 to 6. When you go into episode 5 and 6, you're dealing with the whole fucking trilogy. So if you want to say this movie copied from the trilogy, that's fine. But think about this. If they've already copied the trilogy, where the fuck do they go from here? They go into something new. Which takes me back to my first point. This is the Star Wars movie we needed, not the Star Wars movie we wanted. Okay? I'm going to end you with this badassery behind me. You're motherfucking welcome.